This is just a quick video showing about what I'm using to do this music with. Um, what you kind of see here is my setup. I have an iPad right here, and the keyboard on top, is what I'm using as a MIDI controller, which operates the iPad. And as you can see, I'm going to pull this out here. This is the B. I think this is called the B connector. It's what you use for the printers and stuff like that. Well, this is also for the MIDI controller. This keyboard here is both a MIDI controller and a synthesizer. As a MIDI controller, if I put this USB cable in the back and plug it in to the side, you can see right here, I have an adapter. I have an adapter right here for the iPad, and I can plug that directly. I can plug this as a MIDI controller into the adapter right here, and then that goes into the iPad. What that does is it allows me to use the iPad's instruments as my keyboard choice. I'm not using the synthesizer. The difference between a controller and a synthesizer is a synthesizer, you don't need an external source. Everything's internal to the synthesizer. But as a MIDI controller, I'm using the sounds from the iPad directly into the iPad to make my music. And that's basically what I'm trying to show you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and plug it into the back and turn the iPad on and put it into GarageBand, and it's going to use the instruments in GarageBand to play from. Now, the GarageBand will allow you to play the keyboard on the iPad itself. But the MIDI controller gives me 88 keys, and I have the full control over it. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be playing it as a electric piano. And it's one of those old Herbie Hancock type electric pianos. So, turn this thing back over to here, and you can see me plug this thing into the back. So I'm going to pick this up right here and plug it into the back. I have another keyboard over there, which is a mini keyboard, and it uses the power from the iPad, but this one has its own power. So I'm just going to plug this right in the back. And then I'm going to turn this on. As you can see, it has its own keyboard. Now this is an upright bass. And I can do the same thing on here. What I'm going to do though now is I'm going to change. I'm going to get out of this program here, or this song, because that was the song I had made earlier. Then I'm going to just press the plus button over here, and it's going to give me a totally different choice. See, it's going to give me an oscillator. But I'm going to change that to electric piano. And I'm going to go over here to keyboards, and then it says electric piano. And then I just tap the screen. So that's how I'm making my music. I've been playing it on the screen, and sometimes I have this other keyboard over here It's called the M Audio Oxygen. All right, and it's got the same thing. And you look in as you can see in the back, there's the thing for the MIDI controller. Now this is not a synthesizer. This doesn't have any. It doesn't even have a power input. You look at the back, it's just all. It's got the place for the pedals. It's got the MIDI out for the special pin that you put in there. Like it looks like earplug hole. Um, so it has USB for USB MIDI, and it has a MIDI out that you can see over here. But there's no power. It takes the power from the iPad. So I can plug that into here and make my own sounds. The thing about this is that this keyboard, it's not really made for the Apple products. It works, but not to its fullest extent. You'd have to get a program like Ableton Live or some other one that you could, because it's got a lot of knobs and switches on it that you could use if it was compatible with the program that allows you to use those. And it can do a lot, an awful lot. The other thing is anything like, let me point this out over here. If you look over here, you can see my little workstation over here because the iMac is what I used to use to make the music off of. And then I was using this interface before. That interface right there, I could also plug into the Mac, and I could use a synthesizer directly with that and not use any of the onboard instruments. I could use the instruments with this, and that's the one at the bottom. This is my main synthesizer down here. It's an 88 key synthesizer that both does analog and digital synthesizer. It's got oscillators and everything else on here. Thing makes like 14,000 sounds. I could use that, but I'd have to use the interface. I could also use it as a MIDI controller if I just plugged it directly with the USB into the side of there with nothing else. So that also gives me chance, and it's more relaxing to play it like this instead of like that up there. But for all of the stuff that I'm doing, it's not complicated because everything goes through my iPad. I make everything on the iPad now. I used to use the iMac to run GarageBand, but GarageBand is different on a iMac than it is on iOS, which is the portable mobile units. And so it can be somewhat more challenging since it's more basic on the iPad. But for what I'm using it for, it provides everything that I need for right now because there's a mic input. And as you can see, I have my mic right here and I'm using it. That also plugs directly into it. But in this case, it's plugged into my iPad that's recording all of this stuff. So, as you can see, my electronics configurations are all set up for Apple products. And because it's so portable, I can take it anywhere, and any musical idea, I can start on my iPhone, go to and transfer it to my iPad, and I can get stuff directly off of YouTube and other musical stuff, and I could have it accompany me. Then I could leave it on there or take it off. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do, and it's not really complicated at all. So I will put another addition to this video on the iPad that I'm recording now, and I'm gonna use GarageBand directly to show some of the stuff that I'm doing in the tracks and things like that. But with that being said, until another time,